Elevate your business with CardSaver, your trusted partner for card payment solutions. From cutting-edge devices to custom options to fit your business needs, they've got you covered. Our Business Cash Advance offers quick access to funds with no interest, just a simple fixed fee. From pay-as-you-earn, join businesses that use CardSaver for reliable payments and smart growth. Now, back to the pod. Hello and welcome to the Cod Cast. Today is episode 6 and our series finale. Today we are joined by kitman and overall everything at the football club. It'd be very hard to put into words what he does in one sentence. We're joined by Danny Moore. Danny, how are we?
I'm good, thank you.
So talk to me, what is your role at the football club? And 26 years now at the club, 25 years at the end of last season. Talk to me a little bit about what you do.
Well, obviously the role of being the kit man, which I've obviously been involved with that for a number of years, but also look after the maintenance for the business. So across all the sites and the various companies that come under the umbrella. So I look after all that as well, with a small group of lads sort of to help do the jobs. I'll sort of keep an eye on them and just do certain things that fit my sort of what I can do best.
How did you get into the football club, starting from the very beginning?
So I started doing physio with the FA, doing courses with the FA. So I knew Brian Wilson, that was manager at Blackpool Ren Rovers at the time. Used to play football with him on a Sunday morning. Started doing the physio, approached him to go and help at Ren Rovers. So I did that, I think, for about 18 months. And then they decided that they were going to leave Wrens. And they left. I got a phone call in the summer asking that they got the job as him and Stuart Parker got the job manager and assistant at Fleetwood. And would I come with them to do the physio? So that I started doing that. They left after about 18 months and moved to a different club. Circumstances. I was sort of asked, would I move on with them? And I just sort of said at the time, just felt that staying at Fleetwood would be a better opportunity for me with what I wanted to do by staying at Fleetwood. So obviously I stayed and the football club progressed. We got in the Conference North, and then Mickey was obviously in charge then, and Mickey decided to bring Sos in, who was a physio. So I worked alongside Sos doing the physio, and then the club decided at that time they wanted to go full time, and basically was asked whether I could leave my job. At the time I was the electrical manager at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, so I was then asked if I wanted to come on board full time, which then was to help with the physio, look after the kit and look after the maintenance as well, to give me a full-time role. And obviously that progressed through, but as the company's got bigger and expanded, sort of there was more maintenance to do. So theoretically, I sort of took a step back from the physio side of things, carried on with the kit, and started doing maintenance. And then sort of always kept up with the maintenance side of things, but and also sort of helping out with the kit. And obviously, just at the moment, I'm doing the kit to sort of not say full time, as in I've still got my other jobs to do, but I do both together.
Was it a risk to go full-time at Fleetwood? Because we'll come back to, obviously, when Andy came in and the progression of the football club through the non-leagues, but was it a risk to go from, a settled job and a part-time job? Because you often see these footballers on, part-time money at a football club and part-time money elsewhere, and then the jump into a full-time role here is less money. Was it a difficult decision to come here?
It was a difficult decision to make, but I mean, I did have a good job, a settled job, and I probably could have been there for as long as I wanted to. But it was just that opportunity. I've always been around football, played a bit, watched and everything, and it was just that opportunity to do it. And I sort of said to myself, if it only lasted like 5 years, I could live with that. I was an electrician, obviously by trade, so I always felt that I could always fall back onto doing something if I needed to, go back into that. But fortunately, it just, the whole business, the football, just went from strength to strength. And obviously I was part-time for 10 years, and then obviously now this is my 16th year being full-time, been employed, so it was definitely worth the gamble anyway.
You've worked with a load of different players, management, and a lot of staff come and go, but owner Andy Pilley was there and ever present. What was your relationship with him like at first when he comes into the building?
I've always got on well with him, to be fair. We've always spoke, sort of as his business is sort of developed and stuff, so I got a bit more involved with that side, and obviously his properties in his house, sort of looking after that and that. So sort of became quite close with him. He's a great guy. We'll stop and talk. I mean, obviously I've spoke to him a few times, over the last year or so. Still keep in touch. But yeah, he's been a big part of sort of everything that I've been able to achieve here.
How did your role look in those early years? And obviously you said you did a lot of physio work, a lot of different work to what you do now. For players that maybe aren't as professional as you are now in 2024, how did it look?
Well, when we first obviously when I was starting part-time, your Tuesday and your Thursday nights, it was doing the physio was always difficult because you can do a bit on a Tuesday, you can do a bit on a Thursday, you can treat them and stuff like that, and you can ask them to do stuff, but it's a lot harder to get people recover from injuries when they're only doing small amounts each sort of day. When we sort of went full time, that side of things, you can treat them every day, you can work with them, you can monitor the progress, and then you can obviously up it, and it's easier to do when they're full time. It was hard sort of being part time with them.
Did you see a difference in the football club when we went full time? Because that's always everyone's. When you're probably National League North, there's a large portion of clubs that's still part time. That's normally the step that you want to take on if you want to get into the National League or beyond. Did you see a bit of a difference in standards around the football club and standards of players, and the players coming in maybe looking after themselves a little bit better than previously?
Yeah, I think once they decided to go full time, the whole thing, the club obviously wanted to progress, so everything off the field sort of improved, just like travel, accommodation, food, like around the place, just everything sort of got better. And knowing Andy, he always strived to have sort of the best with stuff, and he always wanted the football club to be up there, so he was always prepared to give the best opportunity to the players by sort of giving them the best that he could.
The non-league days were the best days in my eyes, from winning games of football regularly. What was working with players like Jamie Vardy, who's gone on to bigger and better things? I think they used to quote him that he used to come in jeans and a t-shirt to train. And what was working with him like now then? Look at him now, he's like a superstar, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Jamie, when he came in, it was like he just turned up. He was there that first day, and he looked scrawny and everything like that, and everybody was like, "Freaking hell, who's this?" They were a bit standoff. He was sound, but everybody was like a bit wary because he just turned up, and then obviously the first game that he played, you could see his sort of speed and everything like that, and everybody was like, "Freaking hell, he can shift." And obviously he just every day in training it was always a laugh. He was a prankster, along with Mangs and Maguire and all them lot. They used to have, every day would be a fun day, basically. They used to do what they had to do, but everything was always a laugh, always pranksters. But when it came down to the Saturday in the game, he was just unbelievable. Once he got on that pitch, he was dead. You know, he just wanted to score goals, and we just were at a position where we were able to find him.
Could you see in his professionalism that he'd go on to bigger and better things? Obviously, players on the pitch look electric, but sometimes off it might not have the greatest of attitude. Could you tell with Jamie Vardy?
Well, to be fair, off the pitch, he probably wasn't the best by a long way. To be fair, but on it, he was one of them. I think they soon realised that the potential in him to make some money from him, like very quickly. They knew that they had something special. So, to be fair, off the pitch, he wasn't the greatest, but he was probably allowed to get away with it a little bit because they knew that very quickly clubs were interested, inquiring. So they just had to sort of like play him along, not try and sort of upset him in any way, but just make sure he just stayed on that where he was, just a level playing field. And then obviously the option came, and they were able to sort of sell him for good money. But I'm sure once he left and went to Leicester, I think his first season he was a little bit in and out and a bit up and down, and I think that was probably for him his big learning curve from going from where he could probably do what he could get away with here to actually not being a big fish and people making sure that he was doing what he was meant to be doing.
I think Neil Warnock used to always say about Adel Taarabt that although his attitude might have not been there at times, he will win your games on his own, he will get you promoted, and he ended up having an unbelievable season in the Championship, winning promotion. And sometimes you've got to deal with players like that. Have you kept in touch with Jamie Vardy? Have you heard him?
I haven't. I mean, I've spoken to him a few times over the years. Obviously, when we've played him in the FA Cup, we've played him in the Bristol Street or whatever it was then. And to be fair, he obviously wasn't involved, but I'd like someone knocked on our changing room door after the game and said, "Where's Danny?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, Jake Bards is here for you." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He went, "Oh, he's come to see you." So he'd obviously made the effort to come down to the game to see us. So, but he was always, you talk to him, he's just the same as he always was. You talk to him, obviously his personal life's changed and he's probably doesn't do what he used to do. He goes home and he's sort of in his four walls and everything because that's the way they are these days. But still, when I've spoke to him, he's still the same Jamie Vardy.
From those non-league days, lots of players stood out and are legends of this football club still. Who would you say you had good relationships with, that you connected with off the pitch as well as when you were working with them on it as well?
Well, over the years, obviously, Pondy. I mean, I remember Pondy coming when he was 19, I think he was, on a Thursday night. And obviously, I've worked with him for all them years. And we have a good relationship. I mean, he calls me Dad and that. Same as Scott Davis is very similar. I still see him regular. Another one that rings up and he'll be like, "Hey, Dad." You know, you get that. So we've got sort of close ties with them too. I mean, I used to sort of like Jamie Milligan, I used to get on really well with. I mean, I see him every now and again, but we used to have a good connection. To me, like, he's probably, for the level that he played at with us, he's probably one of the best players we've had at the club. What he could do with the ball, with picking out Adam Warlow, them two had a really good connection, and Jamie could just pick him out, and Adam could put the ball in the back of the net as well. He was a good player.
Milligan is a character. I remember when I was about 8 years of age, he turned around and said to me I was the worst player he'd ever seen. I was 8 years old. So for Milligan, I've still got a bit of bad blood with him, but a top footballer. When we get promoted to the Football League, it was Andy's dream, and a lot of people said, "We'll never do it, you'll never do it, you'll never take Fleetwood Town, population of 25,000, you haven't got a proper training ground, you're still on the hunt." We were looking at Lytham at the time. Did your role change a little bit when we went into that Football League? Because that was 2012, so we're talking 12 years ago now. It seemed like a lifetime ago, but in a short space of time, a lot's happened.
Yeah, I mean, I was, like I say, I was sort of doing the physio and the kit, so I was obviously a lot busier, and I'm in the football club all the time. Similar to what's happening now, I'm sort of back in the football club, as in spending a lot more time around the football club than I was previous years, where I was like popping in and out. But yeah, it was busy, and obviously I think the travelling sort of upped, and everything. There was more going on around the place, because obviously the lads are here all the time. The clubs obviously was desperate to try and move, like you say, find a training ground and everything. So from them early days, again, there was a lot less full-time staff.
Yeah.
So from when I first sort of went full-time, apart from doing them roles, I was sort of sorting the coach travel out, sorting the hotels out, sorting like accommodation out for lads that were sort of coming, and we're signing them. So sorting out hotels, like the De Veers. Lads used to stay in the De Veers, used to stay in the up at Lytham as well. So I ended up doing a lot more of that type of stuff. Probably a bit more like what Will does now.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff, sort of looking after the lads and making sure that everything's in place for them.
Did you enjoy that, or was there a moment where you thought, well, I didn't really sign up for this, I wanted to do this and this, where I could have been doing what I actually truly loved before? Or was it, I'm thriving on this because the football club are actually putting a lot of trust in me to do some quite severe work for them here?
No, I loved it. I just the more I was doing, the more I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just sort of thrived on, sorting things out and being around the place and, organising stuff. And obviously then you see, everything's sort of organised and the lads are happy and they come to you for stuff and you're sort of helping them out. No, I used to, it was busy, obviously, and obviously a lot of them roles have been sort of split up and moved around, so for a lot more people to do than in the beginning, when there was only, obviously when we first went full time, there was Mickey was the manager, Steve Kerwood, myself, and a girl called Leanne that was like sort of looking after the bars and that. So there was only 4, maybe 5 of us were full time sort of staff right at the beginning. So there was a lot for everybody to do.
You mentioned travelling, and with that comes pre-season tours. And over the years, recent years, you look at Portugal, went to Lake Como just a couple of years ago as well. I think we've been to Croatia. How does your job look then when you're having to pack loads of stuff for loads of different players? Is it a stressful one? Are you able to fly with the team? Do you have to go your own way?
So the first couple of years we went to Austria.
Yes.
And we took the gear on the plane. But then we decided that, I think we went to Holland, I think it was, which obviously was closer. And when you speak to a lot of other clubs, the kitmen sort of ended up sort of driving and taking the gear, because you go to some of these places and they don't, even though they're allegedly set up for football clubs, they don't always have everything that you really want. So the first year I drove, took the van, packed it all, and obviously at the time the van was, it was obviously rammed full, and you're just praying that everybody is, everything's there. But yeah, I set off, drove down across on the train, through the tunnel, stopped in Belgium, and then drove into Holland. So since then, all the trips that I've been on, we've driven. So Budapest and stuff like that, 24 hours driving to places like that. But it's something different. You're driving through different countries, you're seeing different places, you're staying in different places. So it's all part of the fun and the enjoyment of it all.
Did you have any disasters on the way? Any problems or funny encounters?
No, I think I've been pretty fortunate. I know one of the trips they had, the van broke down en route.
Lake Como.
I didn't go away on that trip, but yeah, so that was a little bit of a nightmare. But generally, everything, again, when everything's been organised, they've been pretty decent. So everything's been sorted out, and we have been lucky. We've never had too many anything that sort of like stands out as a major problem.
Fleetwood Town coming to the Football League, fast forward 21 months, Fleetwood are at Wembley. Did you ever imagine this football club when you joined, what would have been 16 years prior, that we'd be in that situation?
No, I mean, obviously getting into the Football League was a massive thing. And I think, like, from my point of view, it was just about staying in the Football League. You know, we all know it's a small club, population's only, like, say, 27,000. So staying there was always, to me, was the big thing. And but again, Andy wanted to push on. They put a really good squad together. Obviously, Graham Alexander came in, and I mean, I think we had a good enough squad probably to get out of it, you know, without getting in the playoffs. But we got in the playoffs, and thankfully we had, you know, the day was ours, and the experience was obviously something that I'll never forget.
How does a match day look for you, and then how does it differ when you're at Wembley? Is it different because it's a bigger game, bigger stadium?
No, I mean, just Wembley's is different in the respect of they tell you, like, you can come at this time, you have to be here for then. So, like, on a normal match day when we're travelling away, I'll set off, like, stay overnight, and then I'll get to the ground probably 10:30, which is quite early, but I like to get in, get everything set up, make sure everything's there, and then if there is any issues or whatever, I always feel I've got time to maybe resolve them issues. But like when you went to Wembley, they sort of give you a time to
Just by the way, we've currently got our gaffer knocking on the doors, trying to get in, shouting he's only the kit man. As he walks back in,
probably give me some more abuse.
He's probably going to come and give some abuse. So he's on his moment in the line. Here he comes. Here he comes.
Go on,
You've had your go.
I've had my go, but who's the kit man getting on here?
We
trying to promote the podcast. The kit man, come maintenance guy, come everything.
Danny Mayer said no, so if you could get Danny Mayer to change his mind.
Yeah,
I asked him before. I don't think Danny Mayer's a fan of it.
Danny wants to come on.
No, I asked Danny. He said he's got all the guests sorted.
Danny will tell you a few stories.
There we are. There we are. So if that makes it, Charlie Adams just come in. Talk to me about your match day. Obviously, you're going back to Wembley.
Yeah, so, but like at Wembley, they're a little bit different where they'll give you a time slot that you can come in, because you obviously, at Wembley, you sort of drive under the stands, the coach drives around underneath to the changing room, so you're given a bit of a time slot that you can take your stuff, but no, it's different places, all have their own little, people are there early, some people aren't, so, but I'd just like to get everything boxed off.
Have you ever had any disasters on an away game where you forgot kit or forgot boots?
There's been a few little bits. I think probably our first away game in the Football League, I'm sure we played Grimsby.
Was it Grimsby?
Grimsby.
Yeah, Bradford was early on.
Just driving down, and obviously we were playing in red, white, red, and then you get that light bulb moment where you think, bloody hell, they wear red socks, and obviously we'd got red socks, so that was a quick divert to Sports Direct to get a load of white socks and sort out. But there's odd little bits that you sort of forget every now and, or you don't, let's say you forget, or the lads will forget stuff, and then you're obviously trying to sort their stuff out again. We've had a few lads where they forgot to pack the boots, but generally there's enough boots between all the other lads, because some will take 3 pairs, 2 pairs. There's usually something that covers everybody. So yeah, so there's been odd little bits, but nothing that's sort of caused us too many problems.
Who would you say in that promotion-winning squad was the key characters to work with?
So what, the promotion from into League One.
From League One. From League Two to League One. Yeah.
There was no. I think as a group there was no like massive characters that stood out. I think that group was. Everybody was sort of like together, so there was nobody that was sort of head and shoulders above everybody else. I mean, it was like when we went from the conference to the Football League, you had some big characters. McNulty was sort of the captain, and he sort of ran the place. He sort of made sure everybody kept in line, and he was a good guy. He was a good captain and a good player.
When you've gone away to these away grounds recently, and obviously throughout your time as well, has there been any grounds that you thought, oh, this is a bit different than usual? Is it like maybe, obviously you mentioned Wembley, you have to go at a certain time, or do all grounds have the similar protocol, come whenever you want?
Yeah, most grounds now, there's always somebody there, sort of early doors. But I mean, we've been to, obviously there's been a lot of grounds that you go to that, like the changing rooms and stuff, are really bad. But I think a lot of them, like Accrington, Exeter used to have probably the worst away changing room. Yeah. That was so small, but a lot of them have sort of changed. They've had to obviously upgrade through the year. So Aki's changed theirs. Exeter have upgraded theirs. Few grounds have been a bit poor. We think Newport's. I think they still play at the same ground, but the actual playing surface was. I think one of the times we went, it was basically a sand pit, which was really poor.
Where would you say has been your favourite place to go to?
I like going to Portsmouth. It's an old style ground, but I just think the atmosphere around the place has always been sort of really good. And even though obviously it is a trek going down to Portsmouth, it's one that I used to really look forward to going to. Just the place, it was good.
Yeah, Fratton Park is unbelievable, and Porter fans are unbelievable. I always enjoy my trips down there. Overall, then, what would you say is a week for Danny Moore? I know you've said you do different jobs, but how would you say your week changes? Because you are the utility man. You are the Cole Johnson of in and around the football club. You can go anywhere, can't you?
Yeah. So I mean, Monday morning they'll come in. Obviously, everything's sort of ready for the lads to. Everything's ready for the lads to go, and then there'll be obviously stuff will come in from over the weekend. Problems from here. Problems maybe at the ground from events. So we sort out the lads to go and sort of repair stuff. Then I'll obviously stuff for the houses. I might have to go out and sort of repair stuff there and do different things. So I'm always here first thing in the morning for a couple of hours, make sure all the lads are sorted out, and then I'll sort of disappear. Either if we've got a game like this afternoon, I've been up at Fleetwood, sort of packing stuff for Saturday's game away at Cheltenham. Again, coming tomorrow, spend a couple of hours here, go down to the ground, pack the van, and make sure we've got everything, and then set off to Cheltenham in the afternoon and stay overnight down there.
With shirts, it's a weird one. So what, do players get allocated a certain amount of shirts per game? And it is a kind of apparent that they use 2 shirts a game as well now.
I mean, most lads, it's like we've got so many different cups and stuff that we have to play in. So obviously they've got a shirt for the league. They had a shirt for the Carabao Cup. They have got a shirt for the Bristol Street. Fortunately, you can remove the sleeve badges for like the Carabao and the Johnson's Pay or Bristol Street, and then obviously they've got like the away kits, the white kit. So there's always they've all got like more or less 2 shirts for home, and then we just once you're out of all the cups and whatever, you know what you've got left really.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do another shirt for the FA Cup. We don't know obviously what colour we'll be in. So there's constantly shirts being made. Obviously, shirts get ripped and stuff. So there's always plenty of shirts being used.
Do players swap shirts at half time still, or is that?
Some lads will ask about changing the shirts, but a lot of them, if they've got 2 shirts, it's basically if they swap it, then it just means they've got 1 shirt. Sometimes what they'll do is buy a shirt and to replace the other with or whatever. But it's not like, I mean, a lot of clubs, there isn't an endless supply of shirts. And a lot of the people I talk to, that, you know, if they want more shirts for families and whatever, they have to buy them, and that's what they do. If they need shirts, they want family shirts, they just buy them.
Overall, then, how would you sum up your 26 now years involvement in Fleetwood, and what are the big differences? Obviously, promotions and facilities, but what would you say has changed?
Well, I mean, for me, nothing's changed. It's obviously a lot busier than it's been. Obviously, the facilities have changed massively. The ground, obviously, that's changed out of all recognition. This training ground's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, everybody that comes that's involved with football and has not been before can't believe, you know, sort of what we've got. There's obviously the dome that's been done. So it's still a place that every day I still love to come into work. I still get up with the enthusiasm and just to get in and get everything, you know. Sometimes I feel there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done, but you know, the days go quick, and it's been a great place for me. You know, the decision was right to leave my other job and come here, and I've never looked back.
You've not had any regrets on that?
Never. There's never been a moment that I'd wished I'd not done it.
What does Fleetwood Town mean to you?
Well, it's been a massive part of my life. It is a part. It is everything that goes on. 90% of my life revolves around Fleetwood Town. You know, you get a day off here and a day off there, and I'll do stuff with the family and the wife and whatever. But everything always comes back to Fleetwood Town and the football club.
Oh, right. To finish, I'm going to give you some players. I want you to give me a word to describe them, and we'll go for some quick fire over the football club. So I'll start off nice and easy. Jamie Vardy.
Just a character. Just loved a practical joke. Just always. Everything was fun. Every day for him was just a fun day.
Jamie Milligan.
The same. Just, a lot of these lads at that time, everything was. They come to work.
Yeah.
And they obviously trained, but everything was about having a laugh.
Yeah.
You know, if you like, my philosophy is if you work, obviously you come to do a job to get paid, so you have to do it to your best of your ability. But you need to be able to have a bit of fun in it. You've got to laugh. If you don't get any enjoyment from it, then you're not in the right job, and that's how the lads are. Talking
of characters, John Parkin.
Well, John, I mean, I do speak to John quite regularly, to be fair, and he's definitely the funniest guy I've ever met. He's character-wise, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's so many stories. But yeah, I do speak to John quite a lot. He's a good guy, very good guy. David
Ball.
Bally, used to get on really well with Bally as well. He's and again, really nice, really nice. Spent a lot of time, went to his wedding, saw him just in the summer. Came over, obviously.
Yeah.
Somebody's met with him, and you know, like you said before, there's a lot of guys come and go, and then there's some guys you get sort of like a bit of a connection with. And you know, you get phone calls from every now and then, or just, even if they're after something, you know, they give you a bell and whatever. But it's still nice that you know that they'll ring you because, you know, they've got that connection and you can help them out if possible.
Number 1 appearance maker in the Football League, Alex Cairns.
Kenzie, really nice guy. Sort of, very nice. He worked hard. You know, I think he came in probably underrated at first, and worked really hard to sort of get into that number one spot, and then obviously different managers had a different opinion and obviously moved on, and then went obviously to Salford. But again, worked really hard then and did well for them, and now he's got a good move. We're back at Leeds.
Yeah.
So he's
doing all right for himself.
He's come full circle. I remember watching him coming on at half-time against Blackpool at Leeds, I think, I don't know if he's made his debut for them, but obviously gone full circle.
Yeah, he made his debut for us off the bench against Chesterfield away in that 1-0 win, and he came on 240 appearances and twice off the bench for a goalkeeper. That's quite high. I'm going to give you two more now. Brendan Wirradu.
He's another one that I get on really well with, pretty close to. I talk to him quite a lot. But he's stepped up. He came in sort of quite quiet and that, learning, about the place. But since he's taken over as captain, he's sort of grasped it with both hands, and he's good around the changing rooms. He makes people aware of what needs to be done and stuff. So if I have any problems with any of them, you just speak to Brendan and
he'll sort them out.
He'll sort things out.
Yeah, like wingman. Talking to captains, last one before we got on to the last couple. Nathan Pond, prodigal son.
Yeah, Pondy. I mean, what everything about him. He's come from non-league. He's progressed through every level that we've been at, international. Like I said, that's why he's in the Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that's so every level he's been out to prove everybody wrong, because from every step that he's gone, everybody's always doubted whether he was good enough to go to that next level, and he proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that he was good enough, and it just sheer hard work and determination to a couple of knockdowns every now and again, but he was always here to fight back, and play international as well. He's had a great career, and from where he's come from, it's been. He needs a pat on the back. He's done well.
A couple of your experiences now. Who would you say is the best manager you've worked with? And Charlie Adams gone home, by the way. You don't feel pressured.
No, I think probably Mickey stands out because I think he was the first one that came in that was professional to a level. Obviously, we've had other managers that have taken the club higher, more professional and around the place. But I just think there was that from the non-league bit. There was, like you say, you enjoyed the non-league probably more than the, because of the way things were. I think we were all a bit more closer as a club. With the fans, and Mickey after games would all go into the bar with the players and sit and talk to. So I just think that time of getting into the Football League and everything. But we've had, a lot of them. I got on really well with Uwe. A lot of the players didn't sort of found him hard because he was a bit of a workhorse.
Yes.
And sort of they had to work hard and stuff like that. But I got on really well with him. Don't get me wrong. I think all the managers that we've had, I've got on well with. I'm one of these that, if they're here, the manager of the club, then I'll do everything I can to support them. Because obviously, while they're here, I want them to do well, because it means the football club does well, So, but like now, Charlie's come in, obviously the manager before, around the place, obviously sort of went down a bit, and not professionally, because he was obviously very professional, but obviously we didn't progress when he came in, and the place sort of was a bit in a slump in a way, and then Charlie came in, and the first thing was lifted everybody, the atmosphere, within a few days the whole atmosphere around the place had changed. The lads were sort of back up a bit. They wanted to get out and they wanted to do well. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
To stay up, we started to get the results, but just nearer the end, where it was probably too late.
Yeah.
But like now, the atmosphere around the place is good. The lads are all on side in that respect. Are all behind the manager and the staff. So there's a good feeling around the place.
What was working with Joey Barton like? Because he seemed to be a real motivator, and when he was on football, he spoke really well.
He's a very intelligent guy, very intelligent, knows the game inside out. He obviously, football-wise, good tactician, everything. He would, like when he came, you get your perception of him was like of what you've seen on TV and whatever. And he wasn't like that. He was a normal guy. You just found he just had that switch. He just did things off the cuff, and everybody would be like, where's that come from? Just a little bit of a like shock. Why have we done that? Why has that happened? Or why have we done this? But you know, you go out, we'd go out and staff. You couldn't, you know, great guy to be with, funny, and that. But like I say, I think if the other side of him, he could control that, he would have been or could be a very good manager. Definitely, he's got all the attributes.
Best game.
Plumbing heck. I mean, obviously the Wembley one, in the respect of winning it, but there's been a lot of games, you know, like come from Conference North to Conference Prem, you know, back in the day. All them sort of games have been good. It's hard to sort of remember a lot of them, but it's just, I think it's like sometimes a lot of it's just about the way we play. You know, like the other night, the first half we played was, you know, unbelievable football, and then obviously it goes from one extreme to another, and you can't understand why. But no, there's a lot of games, too many to remember really, that I've enjoyed.
Best player at Fleetwood. Tough one.
It is a tough one. I mean, because there's different players. I mean, obviously, Vardy, for what he did as a player, you know, of one season, stood out. But I still sort of probably a lot of times go back to Jamie Milligan.
Yeah.
I think what he was able to do, playing-wise, obviously I know it was at different levels and whatever, and he was probably playing for us at the time below his level and should have probably still been playing in the Football League when he came to us. But what he could do with his left foot was unbelievable. And there's other. I mean, I used to think Adam Warlow, again, was a hell of a striker. Just obviously things didn't work out for him. But I think I've not spoke to him, but I think everything's good with him now. He's in a good place and that. But, yeah, there's that many that come and go. It's hard to say, but I think Millie's probably one of the best.
How would you describe your relationship with the players over the years?
I have a good relationship with them. You get sort of a good banter with them, sort of give them a bit of grief when, you know, with stuff. I don't try and let them get away with stuff, because I think, like, they come in sometimes, come from other clubs and they just throw the stuff about and whatever, and I don't allow them to do that. You know, everything has to be put away, put in certain areas. So if they leave stuff out or they don't put it where it should be, then they'll get fined for it. But yeah, we get on well. I don't think there's really any that I've sort of disliked.
And finally, how would you describe Fleetwood as a place and as a football club?
I think the football club's obviously has always, apart from this season, been on the up, and it's obviously for a town like we have sort of a lot of unemployment and stuff like that, poverty, that I think it's the one thing that's sort of helped to bring everybody together, sort of, and something that they can be proud of is the football club. Obviously, last season wasn't great by sort of getting relegated, but I'm sure if it's not this season, it'll be soon that we get back out of it, back into League One.
Thank you, Danny, and thank you at home for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it and enjoyed this series. We are going to be doing a series 2, which is just around the corner from when you are seeing this. Let us know some guests you'd like to see. Danny, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching.